Hi guys! Today I'm here with Elaine Silverstein. She is co-leader of the Bergen Passaic chapter of the Native Plant Society of New Jersey. Elaine is also a trained horticulturalist trained by the New York Botanical Garden. She's going to show us around her garden and all her native plants. Elaine, can you tell us a little bit more about your experience in gardening?
Yes, I would be happy to. My certification from the New York Botanical Garden is in sustainable landscape management. So what you're looking at here is a sustainable landscape. Once you put the plants in place, and if you put the right plants in the right place, basically they do it all. You don't have to do very much after that. I don't water and I don't use any chemicals whatsoever. And you have, as you'll see as we walk around, I think a very lush garden. It's mid-September now, so things are looking, not so lush as they did in May, but still I think there's a lot to see here and lots of critters. Environmentalists say if you plant it, they will come, and that's what I try to do. And I also like to try to spread the word as much as possible about the importance of planting native plants here in the suburb, where we can all together restore our environment.
All right, so now let's go around and let's take a look at some of the plants.
So we can notice just from the curb of this home what kind of garden it will be, and that Elaine is protecting our pollinators before we even step inside the garden. This strip is between Elaine and her neighbor's home, so even on a strip of land between you and your neighbor, you can have colorful plants growing and attract butterflies and pollinators. Elaine, can you tell us about some of the plants here?
Yes, the purple is everybody's favorite, I think, the New England aster, just starting to bloom now. There's some white. To the right, there's some white wild quinine. To the left, there are white shade asters, and I believe this is americana, white wood aster, but it's not aster anymore. But it's been here a very long time, and it's seeding itself from the shade into the sun. There's also some of the yellow, obviously, is a Rudbeckia, and this is my very favorite of all of the Rudbeckias. It's Rudbeckia trilobum, and it has these just Crayola yellow, tiny flowers, and I think it's absolutely beautiful. A good way to think about plants is not in terms of individual plants, as beautiful as they are, but in terms of plant communities. In nature, certain plants always grow together. You will always find goldenrod and asters growing together no matter what the environment. It could be on the rocky seashore, it could be in a wetland, it could be in deep shade of an oak forest, but you will always see goldenrod and asters growing together. This is the shadiest part of my garden. The plants that you see now are great blue lobelia, some mist flower, the seeds of a shade-loving Joe Pye weed. There's some milkweed left that's coming. It's kind of jutting out into a sunnier part of this garden, but this is very deep shade. There's lots of ferns in here, and in spring this will have lots and lots of spring ephemerals. Notice the great blue lobelia, which is really pretty and couldn't be easier to grow. This is a cousin of cardinal flower, which is much fussier and requires a very wet environment. The great blue lobelia will grow in almost any kind of soil as long as it has shade. There are many different perennials and grasses in this garden, but you'll notice that the orange butterflyweed, which is Asclepias tuberosa, is actually still in bloom, and it's September. You'll see there's a seed pod there that's probably almost ripe, has almost ripe seeds in it, plus there is one remaining flower head, and it is gorgeous. It mostly blooms in June and July, and this is a milkweed that needs dry soil.
I'd just like to show you what Elaine's garden looks like. So this is what one can do with a suburban backyard by planting native plants, and you will be improving our ecosystems one garden at a time, bringing in all types of butterflies and other pollinators, and helping to help them survive, and which they in turn help us survive. Elaine, can you tell us about this viburnum? It grabbed my attention as soon as I walked in.
Okay, this is a gorgeous viburnum. This is American cranberry bush. The species is Viburnum trilobum. And it makes these beautiful, beautiful, brilliant berries. It's the only native species, I think, that has red berries. We have a number of invasive viburnums that have red berries. But these will remain on the plant because they must be quite tart, and the birds will not eat them until they've been affected by frost. This is a cluster of nuts of American hazelnuts. American hazelnut, Corylus americana. On a lot of my property, this is a lovely tall specimen plant. It can be 12 feet tall and it likes shade. Quite beautiful. The squirrels and chipmunks, for the most part, find all the nuts the second they ripen, but they seem to have missed this cluster, so maybe I'll get a few nuts this year. This is one of our, I think, our showiest and most beautiful native plants. This is Hibiscus moscheutos. It's called rosemallow. It is actually a wetland plant, but it does absolutely terrifically well in my very dry, sandy soil. The flowers open just for a day, and they can be pink, or they can be white with red centers, or even solid red. So different plants will come up with a particular coloration. And over here, you can see the seed pods. These are unripe ones, and here is an almost ripe seed pod. The seeds look like little BBs. And this plant just keeps coming up from seed for me.
Oh wow, take a look at what we found in Elaine's potted herb garden.
We have a milkweed that came up here from seed, probably blown in from my garden last year, and there is a monarch caterpillar munching away. You want to see chewed leaves. Chewed leaves are good. Okay, I want to show you how to collect milkweed seeds, but leave the fluff behind, and this works for all species of milkweed. If you gently squeeze the pod, you'll see it's just open a crack. That's the perfect time to collect the seeds without them flying all over the place. Then you pull the pod off the plant, like that. Sorry about that. And you carefully open the pod. There's all the seeds. Then you take from the top of the pod, you pull the whole thing off, just like that. And you let the seeds drop into your hand. And you leave the fluff behind. In addition to monarch caterpillars, there are 6 other species of insects that feed only on milkweed. So you should not be concerned about seeing lots of critters on your milkweed. Right down here, these are young milkweed bugs. They are the nymphs, actually. This is a species that does incomplete metamorphosis. It will never have caterpillars. It will just have small bugs and then big bugs. So they eat the seeds. So you will have rotten seed pods when they are there, but then you also have some that ripen perfectly, even with the bugs present. I don't know if you can see that. Also wanted to point out that many of our native plants, including some of our most common and easiest to grow ones, have beautiful fall coloring. I don't know if you can see the color of the leaves on this Penstemon, but it's just a bright ruby red. It's gorgeous. This is Penstemon digitalis, and it has white flowers from May to June and then the beginning of July. Really easy to grow plant and very beautiful. This beautiful grass is little bluestem, which is one of our most common and hardiest of native grasses. All it wants is sun and poor soil, and it will do great. In nature, if you climb to the top of a little mountain in this area, when you get to the top, you're going to see this growing out of clefts of the rocks. The white and pinkish flowers are an unusual monarda. This is Monarda punctata, or dotted mint. I believe that's the common name. It attracts pollinators, as you can see, like crazy, just like Monarda fistulosa, the one you're probably most familiar with, or bergamot, although it blooms for a longer period. Just about everything here is in the mint family. So this is a good way to have a colorful long season garden that the deer and the rabbits will not eat. Stick to your mints. This is a great native shrub that I think not enough people know about. This is northern bush honeysuckle, or Diervilla lanicera. It is in the honeysuckle family. It has these tiny yellow flowers that pollinators love. It's been blooming all season long. And if you notice, I hope you can see it, the new growth is burgundy all season long. It's quite beautiful.
So a thank you to Elaine for sharing her garden with us today. And if you'd like to become a member or join meetings, come to meetings of the Bergen Passaic chapter of the Native Plant Society, please take a look at the email and you can be included on the email list. Thanks for joining us today, and please continue to plant native plants to improve our ecosystem.